Hello, how are you today? My name is Desiree Richardson. This is my grandmother Margaret, my sister Andrea, and my mother Margaret. And today I'm going to inform you of the importance of using sunscreen. So, imagine going to the beach. You lay in the sun ready to get that tan that you've been longing for all summer. You took the necessary precautions of bringing sunscreen. You brought sun hat and you brought your sunglasses. You lay down and you're ready to get that tan. So as soon as you're ready to leave the beach, you notice that your skin does not look like the color of tan that you wanted it. You notice it looks a little sunburned, but you wonder what went wrong. You took the necessary precautions. Why do you look like you have sunburn? But little did you know, if you read a little more past that pretty design on the sunscreen bottles, you would have seen that it's more to the process than just a little rub of sunscreen. So first I'm going to explain to you the history of sunscreen. Then I'm going to explain to you the types of sunscreen. And then lastly, I'm going to explain to you the proper procedures to use sunscreen. So, first we're going to start with the history of sunscreen. The American Society of Health Systems pharmacists says that sunscreen is a chemical that absorbs the UVA and UVB rays from the sun because they do damage your sun. So it protects your sun against the damaged rays from the sun. In 1938, Franz Rieder went mountain climbing and he got sunburned, and he said that he was going to create a chemical that protects himself against sunburn. In 1944, Benjamin Green, he used a greasy material called red vet pet, and that was to protect himself and the soldiers against the UVA and UVB rays in World War II. It was very heavy, very greasy, and it was very unpleasant, but it did protect them from the sun, the rays of the sun. In 1946 and 1970, Greeter, he came back and he created a sunscreen with ultraviolet rays A and B filters, and he used red vet paint, cocoa butter, and coconut oil. Since then, the Food Drug Administration has taken his creation, they've modified it, and they've created specifications that protect Americans from the hazards of using sunscreen. So they've modified it in a way to make it safer for us to use. Now we're going to go into the different types of sunscreen. The American Academy of Dermatology has noted that there are 5 different types of sunscreen. First, there are creams. And creams are mostly useful for dry skin. Everybody can use creams, but those that have dry skin are recommended to use creams. They've also started putting SPF inside of lotions, and so that also gives a advantage to those with dry skin that use a specific type of lotion. We also have the gel. The gel is good for hairy areas of the body. We have the stick. The stick is good for around the eyes. So if you have the cream and you're afraid to get it in your eyes, they have the stick so where you can use it around the eyes, and it will protect your eyes from getting any type of chemicals that sunscreen may have in. We also have the sprays. The sprays are good for kids. It's an easy, fast way to protect the children from sunscreen. Not really many people want to take the time and rub the lotion on their child while the child is itching to go out into the beach. So they just take the time, hold their arms out as such, and they just spray them down. And then they also have the specially made sunscreens, which are specially made for sensitive skin and for babies. Now that we've learned the types, we are going to go to the proper procedures of using sunscreen. So the Center of Disease Control has made a list of the proper procedures of using sunscreen. That way it is used effectively and you get the results you desire. First, you are recommended to put sunscreen on 30 minutes before exposure to the sun. You're supposed to reapply every 2 hours. When you do use sunscreen, you're supposed to use a handful. That way you have like a thick layer applied to your entire body. When you do use sunscreen, you put it on every area of your body that is exposed to the sun, including the back of your ears, your shoulders, your knees, your thighs, your feet, your forehead, your nose, your face, every place on your body that is exposed to the sun. You use, like I said before, a thick coat of sunscreen and you apply it thoroughly through your body. When you purchase sunscreen, you want to make sure that you get the broad spectrum sunscreen, and that is with UVA and UVB. It protects against both because there are different types of ultraviolet rays that are come from the sun. And when you do get sunscreen that has an SPF no less than 15. If it has less than 15, do not get it. 15 or above. And also read the labels. Make sure you read the steps that you have to take to apply the sunscreen. That way you will not have to suffer through sunburn. So we have went over the history, the type, and the proper procedures of sunscreen. The Cancer Foundation has stated that 42% of Americans are burnt by the sun per year. I can say that I am a part of that statistic. I myself have been badly burned by the sun, as you can see. I've got it on both of my shoulders and my forehead. It took about 3 weeks for it to heal, but it was very painful once it did happen. So I would recommend that you definitely read the labels. And in order to not be a part of that statistic, follow the proper procedures. Know the history of where it came from, and you will have that successful tan that you have been longing for.